Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm a comically large trash can.
And I just got a needle probe.
Welcome to episode 267, WWF Monday Night RAW.
And
Raw!
And how raw will it be? We've been burned by a nitro recently.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, we definitely have.
That was garbage.
Uh-huh.
So this is the 222nd episode of Raw, produced by the WWF. It would take place on August 11th, 1997, from the Mississippi Coast Coliseum in Biloxi, Mississippi, with an attendance of 6,814 and a TV rating of 2.9.
Not bad.
Just to give you reference, WCW that week was a 3.8.
83 weeks, brother. Mississippi just feels like a state you always forget exists. It just feels kind of like its own thing in a way.
Yeah.
And I've never been there, but
You got Louisiana, something, and then Florida.
Yeah, it's like Atlanta and
Mississippi,
stuff.
Alabama, Georgia.
Yep.
But Mississippi just feels.
I get those three mixed up because I don't ever know what order they go in.
Yeah, it's Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia.
It's like, yeah.
I had to think about it there for a second.
I feel like there's more famous movies that take place in Mississippi than like famous people or things that come like out of it. Like Mississippi just kind of seems like it's just out there doing its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
People probably say that about Oklahoma too, but I mean, hey, I think Brad Pitt was like born here. We have a couple things.
Yeah, we've got some people that are from here. We got Color Me Bad, damn it.
Yeah, Color Me Bad,
Hanson.
Flaming Lips. But yeah, Mississippi, I'm like, who the hell is from Mississippi?
Reba.
But we all know how to spell it. There's even a fun little game for it.
Which way do you do it?
Oh, what? M-I crooked letter?
There
Humpback, right?
Okay.
Those two.
Yep.
See, I would name my double S.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, where I heard I think it was my cousin that taught me that when I was a kid.
Well, yeah, because it was always like there's the boys' way of doing it and the girls' way of doing
really?
it. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Crooked letter and humpback was usually the girls' way.
Oh, damn. I mean, I was taught to me by a girl.
There you go.
But we are in Mississippi.
Yeah, we are.
So, Shane, did you do what you do?
He sure did.
I did.
That
is not running water that you're hearing. That is clinking ice in my glass. Yes, here we are. Monday Night Raw. The first show recorded in the new
Studio.
Yes. WHX.
Wrestling History X Studios.
The second place it's ever been recorded outside of a short amount of Zoom recordings early on.
Did you guys do one in Dallas too?
Yeah,
True, we
it was
did
a
do one
house
in
show.
Dallas.
Yeah, after the Super J or I don't know, one of those G1s.
The
Yeah, the
G1.
G1.
Yeah.
Maybe
Wow.
the best event I've
It's
ever
before
been
my
to.
time, so
Yeah.
yes, but we're here at the new studios, so I went to the new WHX kitchen and whipped up a batch of a nice little cocktail I looked up. I did what I do and got on the Google machine and said, what the hell do people in Biloxi drink? And you know what they drink? They drink, well, sometimes anyways, a Biloxi Breeze. Apparently this is a play on just a little bay drink that you could get down in these little, I don't know, swamp shacks or whatever down in Mississippi.
Where the crawdads sing.
Different. I've sipped about half of my drink and it's got some alcohol in there, so
It's well hidden.
yes. But I guess this is a play on just a drink that you used to be able to get at these different shacks and whatnot that were lost during Katrina. So it's some citrus vodka. It's got some white rum. It's got a little orange juice, a little cranberry juice, a little lime juice, a little simple syrup.
It's the double liquors that are doing it.
Yes. A splash of grenadine. It called for an orange wedge as a garnish, but I figured, I don't need to.
Yeah.
We ain't fancy.
Yeah.
It is delicious.
Pretty damn tasty.
Yeah. It tastes kind of like passion fruity, even though it's not in there. I said when I first took a sip, I was like, oh, it tastes like a Capri Sun with a hint of booze.
Yeah.
Definitely good hot weather drink.
Oh, yeah. On a day like today, it's 80-something degrees outside, so...
Yeah.
Perfect in this hot Oklahoma heat.
Oh, you just wait till July, brother.
I can wait.
It's 105 degrees outside.
I'm not looking forward to that already.
Yeah, me neither.
No one ever is.
Nope.
Nah. But yeah, Mississippi. It was nice that you could do Mississippi because, like, it's not a place you go to all the time.
No.
Well, raise your glasses, gentlemen.
That's right.
It's a very tasty drink.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking in the new studio.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as this Raw, South Park would premiere a couple of days later.
What?
I mean, yeah.
You respect my authority.
That's where my name came from. The initial episode was Cartman Gets an Anal Probe.
Oh.
Sorry, the pilot
I was wondering
episode.
where you were pulling it from.
Yes.
But yeah.
Pulled out of my ass.
What's funny is, like, a show that got, like, I remember that, like, that first pilot thing where they actually made it with the paper and everything.
Yep.
Was just like an internet thing or whatever. But I saw it quite a bit. Not quite a bit after, but I don't think I saw South Park until like 98 or 99. And I remember the bullies on the bus when I was in like maybe fifth, sixth grade. They always there was this kid who wore remember those like silk-ish button-up shirts that had like dragons and shit on them, but he had one that was just like the South Park kids or whatever, maybe the funniest shirt of all time. But South Park, a show that only got better.
Yes.
Because like you watch those early episodes and it's just shock value of kids cursing. It's not particularly funny outside of that, and I haven't kept up with it, but by the time I was in high school, they had a run where the writing was just incredible. And I assume it's still good, but I have the benefit of being able to just like record stuff like the week, like a few days before it goes to air, so they can stay current
fresh.
and
Very present in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched any new ones in quite a while, but I mean, I remember watching it when it first started. I was working at, well, obviously Blockbuster, but working part-time at Boston Market as well. And yeah, I just remember people talking about it there because it's like the Edge radio station was really big at the time. South Park had just hit really big at the time, and Larry the Cable Guy was hitting really big at the same time. So it was like all these things, they were interweaving. You'd have Larry the Cable Guy on the Edge radio talking about South Park. And yeah, I just remember listening to that in the morning. Yeah, South Park, it was the, like you said, the new shock value cartoon.
Yeah, and then it got like smarter / poignant over time, and they're kind of grandfathered into just like shitting on everything because they did it early, and they always have a point of view, and it's never particularly like acidic. It might be harsh, but it's not like this sucks because it sucks. It's here we have a angle for the reason.
Yeah, I mean,
this is dumb.
They put into reality what a lot of people are feeling at the times of elections. You've got the elections between a giant douche and a shit sandwich.
I know they did that fucking like 15 years too early.
Well, I mean, at the time that was
at the time it was.
What
I
the
guess
candidates were too.
I mean, it's basically always true. So whatever, but
yeah, I mean their play on celebrities, impersonations, getting the celebrities that they had to come on that were just totally off-the-wall mainstream ones that you wouldn't expect to show up on a Comedy Central
and then, like,
cartoon.
Also very fun references. I think in maybe one of the first few episodes, might have been the pilot, the guy, he had Patrick Duffy for a leg.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, what was he called? Scuttlebutt.
Yeah.
Scuzzlebutt.
Scuzzlebutt.
Something like that. You had the Mecha Streisand. Yeah, they got better and better as time went on. They made the movie. They became Oscar nominated. They made basketball. They've worked into the musical realm of what the hell is it called? Book of Mormon.
Have you guys seen that?
Yes.
Book of Mormon?
Yeah. I've only heard great things, but I don't.
Great. Like,
is there a way for me to watch it without going to see it? Did they ever do like a stage recording of it?
I mean, they had a Broadway
out there.
They had a Broadway streaming app at one point where you could just watch shows directly on there.
But
yeah.
I need to torrent that. And recently, what's his name? The guy that made he made Trainspotting.
Danny Boyle.
Danny Boyle.
There we go.
Danny Boyle recently did a Matrix Broadway show, which sounds fucking awesome. But I'm a huge fan of The Matrix, and I like Danny Boyle a good amount. But yeah, maybe I'll do the 7-day subscription for the Broadway thing. Yeah. Do you have a favorite South Park episode before we move on?
Oh, that's
one that
tough.
shows that just sticks out in your head.
So here's the thing.
Okay.
I was never a South Park guy.
Yeah.
I've seen a few episodes, but the 2 episodes that have I've probably seen the most just
remember?
because my wife loved them.
Oh, nice.
One was the Gnomes episode.
I'm trying to remember that.
Stage 1.
Where they steal the socks?
Stage 1, collect underpants.
Yeah.
Phase 2, Phase 3, profit.
Yeah. Which became an internet meme.
And then, of course, Mr. Hanky.
Yes.
Everyone loves Mr. Hanky.
Yeah.
You got Mr. Hanky. You got the one that...
Towley.
It always sticks in my head. I can just hear the voice over and over. That's ignorant. That's ignorant. The Michael Jackson moves to town.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Trapped in...
Some of the best fake names for characters.
In Michael Jackson's closet or something. I don't
Miss Chokes on Dick. Maybe the funniest character of all time.
There's too many of them.
Like as I said, there's so much of it. You never kept up with it. It's ran forever.
I mean, it started in 97 and we're now in 24 and I don't think it's missed a year.
Mm-mm. No. I think my favorite episode, the one that I was when it came out, I watched it multiple times. I remember downloading it off of Kazaa or something. Was The Simpsons did it?
Yeah.
And then of course the Lemmy Wink stuff was great.
I do want to throw in because you started talking about other Matt Stone and Trey Parker vehicles.
Team America.
Orgasmo
is funny.
It's so funny.
But yeah, Team America was great too.
I think Team America is the best movie they made.
I agree.
But Orgasmo is wild.
It's such an underrated thing because most people are just going to go, oh, it's about the porn industry. I'm not going to watch it. But it is so funny.
Have you guys seen their earliest film, Cannibal the Musical?
I
did not see it. I remember hearing about it, but I never watched it.
It makes a lot of sense. We were pretty obsessed with it in high school. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it is a musical, and it's loosely based on the Honor Party. I think Troma put it out, but they self-produced it. But it's got some really funny songs, and we used to quote a lot of stuff from it in high school. A horse is a horse, of course.
Have they made anything other than South Park in the last few years?
I think the Book of Mormon's just been chugging along, and then South Park I think has had some specials. They got a $9 billion deal from Paramount or something.
Yeah.
A few years ago.
Yeah, there's a special coming out either last week or this week.
I think the last thing I watched was the first pandemic special they made, and that was on HBO Max or something. But I did check in a few years ago because my friend said it was good. I remember watching it. One of my buddies came over and he's like, "We're watching South Park?" And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't think I'd be watching South Park."
Fuck yeah, we are.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun.
Orgasmo is the last movie that Trey Parker wrote.
But they did
other than South Park stuff.
Really? But that Orgasmo was before Basketball.
Basketball was before.
Was it? Okay, I was thinking Orgasmo came first.
That's not true.
Well, Trey Parker may have not written it though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was looking at their writing credits.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Team America, saw it in theaters. I'm sure it holds up well.
So I've just been waiting for them to become this, not necessarily serious duo, but become the Coen brothers or...
Did they not write Basketball?
Possible. I don't know. I thought they did.
I feel like they're nice enough guys that they could have wrote it with they could have wrote it with a group of people, but you can only have 2 writers according to film
it's
laws.
Actually a David Zucker written film.
Okay.
Oh, but I bet they wrote it.
Maybe they used a surname.
I bet they wrote it together and then gave the credit to David Zucker because obviously they have.
I'm sure they probably helped write it on set.
Because you go see a movie and a million people wrote on it, Ghost wrote, or it went through all these hands, but they can only give the credit to 2 people in the actual film. It's all weird.
And hell, a lot of it may have just been improv as they were doing it too. He wrote the basic scenario that they're in, and then they took over from there and just did their normal dick and fart shit from there.
Yep. Dick, fart, and shit.
The only reason they did Basketball is because they thought South Park was going to be canceled before they started filming.
Oh, wow.
So then they literally had to film during the day and do South Park at night.
I mean, yeah.
Basketball, that one...
They put in the work, and they do most of the voices.
It's a guilty pleasure, because I remember watching that one over and over and over and over again when it came out, because it was great. It was hilarious, and I had just started smoking weed, so it made it even better.
Yeah, for sure. Good weed movie.
Yes.
Well, let's talk some Raw.
Let's do it.
WWF worldwide leader in 7 different languages. Followed by the black and white video with narration.
They want to let you know they're worldwide.
1 week ago at SummerSlam, Bret Hart captured the WWF title before declaring he was the new law of the land the next night.
Pew pew.
Shawn Michaels, based on the controversial decision he made at SummerSlam, decided he would now rule with an iron fist. As we see highlights from Raw, where HBK is asked if he is in cahoots with the Hitman, responding that Vince is the dumbest SOB he has ever met. With the future of the WWF hanging in the balance, it had a familiar face who stepped forward, wasting no time and seizing control in the name of justice. Sergeant Slaughter.
Well, I'm pumped on it, and I love how Sergeant Slaughter is keeping it 100.
Yes.
Especially in years where, like, at some point everything feels so lawless, and like here he won't even let the mid card be lawless. We'll see it throughout, but like obviously Shawn's not mid card, but to have a dominant authority figure in a time period where shit's starting to get wild is just the most intelligent thing to do if you want to create fucking heat or get people over. Like there needs to be, you know me, I'm all about the rules.
And it was a nice change for Sarge as well, because he didn't talk the same way that he did previously, where he would come down and try and talk to people like he was a drill sergeant and call them a maggot.
No, now he's just your
He's
like
grandpa.
Yeah, he's your uncle, dad.
He's grandpa, but firm.
Grandpa, but like the one that like you have respect for, but you're not sure that you could kick his ass.
He's military grandpa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the new commissioner would kick people out from ringside left and right, forced Pillman to wrestle in a dress, and keep the calm even as it seems all hell was about to break loose. We would then see Michaels in a locker room, but he would kick the cameraman out of his dressing room before we go to the opening package. And Pyro goes off in the arena as McMahon welcomes us to the show before we go to the ring, where Jim Ross introduces Shawn.
Oh my Shawn!
The Heartbreak Kid is upset that the WWF brass are still blaming him for Undertaker's loss. He's also pissed off that he found out he has to face Mankind tonight while watching Superstars instead of getting a phone call from Vince.
Vince, he might be the owner, but Sarge is the commissioner right now. You should be complaining about that.
And the crowd starts chanting that Michaels is gay.
Yeah.
But he decides to talk back that they should ask their mama and sister if he's gay.
Oh.
I mean, great moment. You can't just let the crowd run over you.
Mm-mm.
Shawn also uses simple logic to prove that he could beat the dead man, as he beat Bret, who beat Taker. And HBK continues that he feels like an outlaw, thinking the powers have it out for him with Sarge always snooping around. Which brings Slaughter out to the ring, where Michaels gets in his face before acting like he gets spat on. And Sarge says his decisions are what's best for the WWF.
Agreed.
Not just for Shawn. And as for tonight, the Heartbreak Kid needs to put up, shut up, and do something about it. Michaels then responds he will do something about it because he's gone and got himself an insurance policy.
Uh-oh.
McMahon then sends us to a video package of comments from fans around the arena about what they think about the Mankind Shawn main event.
Yeah, these fans. Woo! They found some. I mean,
we're in Mississippi. They got some accents, brother.
Well, it's not just the accents. These are just some of the redneckiest woodsiest folks I've seen in a while.
I mean, maybe from
on Monday Night
Oklahoma,
Raw.
but like how many like
He's a traitor.
close friends or
Shawn's a traitor.
I guess we live in like the Oklahoma metro, but it's like I don't know a whole lot of people with accents that are noticeable. In
Not so much
Oklahoma.
anymore, but
Yeah, it's like one guy I've met in the last like handful of years. Who
We're
was
more
like,
of
I was
an
like, damn, what an
international
accent.
melting pot here now. So
Yeah.
We then go backstage to see the Legion of Doom whipping a metal can with a belt and making weird noises as we go to commercial.
Sure, just let them do what they're gonna do.
We come back to Owen, Hart, and British Bulldog in the ring before they join Vince, JR, and Jerry the King Lawler for commentary. As we go to our first match, Road Warrior Hawk with Road Warrior Animal versus Henry O. Godwinn with Phineas I. Godwinn in a country whipping match.
yep.
I'm sure them in Mississippi know what this is.
When a problem comes around,
But for all of us that aren't in Mississippi, it's basically a no DQ match.
I saw their drummer this past week.
oh really?
And the only way to win is to whip your opponent out to the arena floor.
And whip them good.
We then go backstage to the Godwinns, who say this is the way to settle things back home.
Okay.
Before McMahon shows us an article about them in this month's Raw magazine.
So you go and get Daddy's belt off the wall, and you go outside and you have yourself a whipping contest.
Did you ever get Raw or any wrestling magazines? You're older than us magazines.
I used to
were
get
still
the-
a thing when I was a kid.
I didn't get. Well, I don't think I got the Raw magazine. I got the WWF magazine back in the day, but I don't remember when it switched over.
Yeah, I'm sure it was probably right around this time.
Did you do any of the? I can't remember the guy who had all the magazines back in the day. He owned a bunch of them. I feel still silly for
After
After, did you ever get any like not?
Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yeah.
I got
PWI.
WWF with all of my favorite superstars on the cover, and then stupidly at times when I'd run into them and have the magazine nearby, I'd forget to get it signed because I was, oh my god, you're Mr. Perfect, even though the magazine with your face on it is right over here.
Man, signed Mr. Perfect magazine in a frame.
Yep,
That sounds nice.
it'd be the perfect addition to my collection.
Yeah, for sure.
So Hawk starts us off with a clothesline and begins whipping and choking Hog with the leather strap, followed by a big boot. Owen and Davey Boy talk about winning the tag titles at the next pay-per-view, before also arguing over who should beat up the Patriot tonight, so that Brett can just sit back and not worry. Road Warrior goes to run the ropes, only for Pig to trip him up, allowing Henry to go on the offensive with chokes and whipping of his own. Hog with a body slam and falling fist, more whips from the strap and right hands, before sending Hawk to a corner, charging in after, only to receive a big boot. And the Road Warrior then heads up top for a strap-aided flying clothesline, and starts kicking Henry out of the ropes, when Phineas would come around and whack Animal with a slop bucket, followed by heading into the ring to save his partner. And the Godwinns then use the strap for a hangman's neckbreaker. But Road Warrior Animal jumps in, using the slop bucket himself to knock both men out of the ring for the win.
We're just previewing pay-per-view match here, but you're going to let the Godwinns beat LOD on TV? Not yet. The Godwinns more interesting now than they have been in a while because they got a little bit of hillbilly edge to them as opposed to being like, goofy pig people.
It's Hillbilly Jim.
Yeah. I mean, Hillbilly Jim's not with him at the moment.
No, but apparently if you read the magazine, it'll tell you all about why they're not with Hillbilly Jim.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do remember that part from the
I'll have
episode.
to go to archive.org.
Because my thought, I remember when it showed that off, it's like, I was trying to remember, what the fuck happened? Why? And it's just, because they wanted to become bad guys. And Hillbilly Jim can't be by.
Well, because Vince is losing at the moment. He's going to save money and doesn't see the value in Hillbilly Jim at the moment. Can't argue with him.
I'm sure their uncle's about to show up at some point.
Can you imagine if Hillbilly Jim had turned heel? Woo, doggies.
Yeah, everyone would have been shitting themselves.
We then go to a shot of Brian Pillman's locker room as Vince wonders what he will be wearing tonight. And we get a commercial for trading cards featuring 6 of the biggest stars, only from Stridex.
alcohol pads. They sold the hell out of them for about 2 years. I remember these in '98 as well.
They burnt so good.
Yep. It's just alcohol-soaked pads. Like, it didn't get rid of zits any better than a bottle of rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
And
but what made them
paper
special
towel.
was those pads. It was like they made them out of, like, skinned cat tongue. So it had this, like, scratchy feeling as you rubbed it across your face.
Yeah.
Made it so
I
much
used
better
them.
because
I had them too.
it helped that alcohol get nice in there, make it burn
Rub
even
it
better.
in and dry your skin out.
So good.
We come back to a video from earlier in the evening when Slaughter would knock on Pillman's door and give him his wrestling gear for the evening. And when I say wrestling gear, I mean a dress.
It's the little gold one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, one of Marlena's dresses.
We then go to our second match. Scott Putski
Huh?
versus Tony Williams.
Who?
Scott Putski.
Hey, that's Ivan Putski's kid.
Yeah, they do tell us that, but I was like, who the hell are these guys?
Well, that's pretty much all I got for you.
Yeah, Tony Williams.
Not a clue.
He's not the older brother of Serena and shit, I can't remember the other one's name.
Cat? I don't know.
No, it's the tennis girls.
Oh, Venus and Serena?
Venus and Serena.
I thought you'd said them both. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
So Goldust and Marlena then make their way out before the match begins to join commentary. And we see Scott hit a clothesline and a hip toss, followed by a belly-to-belly suplex that sees Tony land on his head. And McMahon asks the Golden One why they joined it, with Goldust saying he has a Shattered Dreams production for everyone.
What a wonderful name for Goldust's like little production company, like fake production company. Shattered Dreams. Man, so good.
So we go to split screen to see backstage footage of Brian Pillman's locker room, where we watch him contemplate the dress, getting very upset about it, trying to put it on, but always very awkwardly.
It is funny to watch him just like, lose it and be like, I gotta do it. And be like, fuck. But yeah, very cinema verte. Like, it feels intrusive.
The action continues in the ring with Putski nailing a vertical suplex and a leaping elbow drop for a 2 count. Scott's whipping Williams from corner to corner, but misses a charge in, allowing Tony to deliver a snap suplex, boot and back rakes, followed by a turnbuckle smash, a clothesline, and a side Russian leg sweep for a near fall. More eye rakes by Williams, and it goes for a hurricanrana, only for Putski to catch and drop Tony with a powerbomb, followed by the 2 trading right hands until Scott hits a back body drop and a Polish hammer for the pin. And the win.
Polish hammer, it's no Pearl River plunge.
No.
Where's Ahmed?
Yeah. I miss, like, Macho Man's his little double axe handle.
Yeah. I mean, the last person that did it great, unfortunately, is disgraced. Velveteen Dream.
Okay. Like, who the hell did it? I don't remember.
Oh, Velveteen Dream did it so well. He did everything so well, except for navigate his life outside of the ring.
So as the match is finishing up, we finally see Pillman get the dress on as Sarge makes his way to ringside to escort Goldust and Marlena backstage.
We
Fucking around.
We're not trying to get a bunch of interference.
No one that's not supposed to be out there is allowed out.
No.
Vincent sends it backstage to The Undertaker, and the dead man says he will be watching the Heartbreak Kids match with Mankind. But no insurance policy will be necessary at Ground Zero, except burial insurance, because Michaels will rest in peace. We then see a shot of Flying Brian's legs leaving his locker room.
Very cheeky.
Not bad.
But we come back to our third match, Flash Funk versus Brian Pillman. And we haven't seen Funk since In Your House 15, Cold Day in Hell, episode 252.
A little bit.
Yeah. A couple months of episodes. Without
need
Flash
the
Funk, we do need the
Gotta
funk.
have that funk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
If
I
only,
do not own the rights to that song.
Can you imagine if Vince just paid the money for a George Clinton tune for it? It would have at least helped him get over.
Oh, yeah.
And before the match starts, Vince sends us to a video package about Goldust, showing old footage of Dustin and Dusty Rhodes,
Boo.
followed by parts of the interview he did with Ross, who then plugs the Raw magazine that has an in-depth story about the Golden One's relationship with his father.
I'll be truthful. I'm not booing either of these men.
No.
Pulling the curtain back on Mankind worked because he's so charming. Pulling the curtain back on Goldust, just he's not innately charming, and his weirdo character needs to stay a weirdo character. He can't just be like a dad and like a sad Southern boy.
Yeah.
We need him to be the certified freak that we all know and love.
I mean, that was kind of the purpose of Goldust, I thought, in the beginning, was to take him out of the shadow.
Envelope.
Yeah. Push the envelope, and to also take him out of the shadow of being Dusty Rhodes' kid. And I also don't like that they refer to him as Dustin Runnels. So that was the first time that I remember them ever saying the actual last name instead of keeping true to the Rhodes name. And I don't know if that's because Dusty Rhodes was over in WCW at the time, so they couldn't use the name. I don't know
and it's
how it
like
worked.
Dusty and Dustin are just too close.
Yeah.
To where it's like, oh, if we call him Dustin Rhodes, like, you know, you're going to think of Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
So
Maybe.
it's like to separate them
That's
a little
possible.
bit. But also they're talking about, you know, their like strange relationship or whatever.
Yes.
Which is also, it's
so bizarre.
Yeah.
We see Flying Brian come out in a gold dress as we see footage from last week's Raw, where Marlena and Goldust would taunt him with a bra from the crowd, costing him a match.
I'm not typically one for dudes in dresses, but he actually pulls it off nicely.
I
It's
mean,
like it was made for his little frame.
he's not the tallest guy. He's very fit,
Mhm.
you know. Oh, I forgot. I have, you know, that terrible loose cannon shirt that he wears?
Mhm.
I have a bootleg of it.
Did you?
Yeah, I have one, and it's one of those shirts that's so ugly you can't wear all the time. And this would have been the time to wear it.
Pillman goes right after Flash with strikes as the commentators talk about Hardcore Heaven, where Lawler will face Tommy Dreamer this weekend.
So weird.
I know. It's so weird to see them working with ECW this way. But, I mean, they pick the right guys.
Yeah.
McMahon then sends it to split screen to talk to Slaughter, who has decided that Owen and Bulldog will face Patriot and a partner of his choosing later in the evening.
Who could it be?
And we're back to the action, and we see Brian miss a clothesline, allowing Funk to come off the ropes with a spinning heel kick, a corner splash, and a top rope crossbody for a 2 count. And Flash stays on the attack with a body slam before going to the top for a moonsault, only for Pillman to get his knees up and drop Funk with a DDT. And all of a sudden, Goldust and Marlena are at the top of the ramp to show everyone the video of Brian in his locker room, which causes Pillman to get distracted and allows Funk to cradle up Brian for the pin and the win.
You got to keep the dress on.
I mean, I do love that they come out with popcorn, and then the video plays behind them. You know, popcorn is a nice touch.
Yeah. Goldust just kind of kicks back on there,
Mm-hmm.
stares down at the ring.
We see a bunch of kids chanting for Dude Love outside the arena as we go to commercial. But we come back to JR sending it to a video package, where we see footage of Owen hitting the piledriver on Austin at SummerSlam. But Stone Cold still wins the title. And the next night on Raw, Hart would cut a promo saying the only reason he lost was because he showed compassion, but that Austin should forfeit the belt and give it back to him.
Just give it back.
Stone Cold would come out yelling that he would open up a can of whoop ass, showing him what Austin 316 means. We then see Sarge talking to a doctor who says it's recommended that Stone Cold not do any wrestling. But Slaughter puts Owen into a match with Dude Love instead. And Brett helps his brother by ramming Foley into a ring post, allowing Owen to lock on a sharpshooter, only for Austin to come down to the ring and crack Owen over the head with a slammy, followed by Dude Love making the cover for the pin.
I mean, you know, he carries those things around. He should be hit with them more often.
Yep.
Now back in the arena, Vince welcomes Foley out to the ring in his groovy persona, asking him about the fatal four-way at Ground Zero, where he's supposed to defend the tag titles. But he has no partner, with Dude Love saying that none of them, his opponents, are very hip.
That's right, Daddy-O.
McMahon then changes topics to Shawn Michaels, with Foley thinking Mankind will rock and then roll all over the wannabe hippie. Once the mandible claw is locked on, the party is over.
I do love that his Dude Love, he's still using the mandible claw and not like some other groovy move.
The Heartbreak Kid then appears on the Titantron to call both men in the ring Nimrods, telling Dude to come into the 21st century, before hyping his insurance policy again and saying Sweet Chin music is coming Mankind's way. And Foley then quotes the Beatles to disagree, before doing some dancing and being joined by a pair of groupies, which I believe the one in the black was his wife.
Oh.
As we head to commercial.
Okay, so quote the Beatles. What did he say? The Beatles are forever quotable.
I'm trying to remember.
He did the walrus quote.
Cuckoo.
That's what it was.
Okay. I was like, there's just so many. But that checks out with his, tie-dye t-shirt.
We come back to more comments from fans outside the arena on who will win the main event, before going backstage to see the Patriot talking to someone, but we can't see who it is.
You can tell who it is.
I mean, we can tell who it is.
Also, most of the fans are on Shawn Michaels' side.
This time. Yeah, the first ones were all the Shawn haters, and he's a traitor, and yeah,
they cut it up nice.
Stride X Triple Action highlights from Shotgun Saturday Night, where the Patriot wins a 20-man battle royal, knocking the Sultan and Vader out of the ring.
I mean, they're just trying to smash over the Patriot as much as they can, only to do what we all assume is the inevitable.
We get the opening video package again because it's time to enter the War Zone.
First wrestling video game I ever owned, Warzone for PlayStation 1. Had like 8 characters. You could unlock Dude Love and I think Cactus Jack as well. But it was like Goldust, Undertaker, Stone Cold. There was like 8 or 9 characters. It didn't work very well, but I played the living crap out of it.
See, my first wrestling video game was WrestleMania for the NES.
Nice.
I played that one.
Yeah. Classic.
I definitely rented some of the NES and SNES ones, but I never owned them. But basically, this was like,
it just gave you kind of the wrestlers from WrestleMania 4 championship tournament.
Yeah.
All in one, It was always $1 Million Man, Macho Man, Jake. Andre, yeah. Hacksaw.
We go to our fourth match. Owen Hart and British Bulldog versus the Patriot and Ken Shamrock.
What?
Ken looks like a fucking beast. What a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And Hart dedicates this match to his brother, while the Patriot has the same music of a certain gold medalist.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out.
It's crazy that they had this around for so long, and it's like, did they change it? Yeah.
Was it the actual music that he had, though?
Yeah, it was the exact same music.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out is I didn't remember if he came out to something else and they just pumped in Kurt's music over the top of it on the network or not.
Oh, I guess that's possible.
But I think it already exists. It's too good for it to not have existed and just been waiting for somebody.
But I mean, it would only be waiting for like a year and a half because Kurt's not that far away.
What, like 99?
98, 99. But I can't remember if that's the music that he had when he first came in.
That music's so fucking good. I think it's among the best wrestling themes.
Oh, definitely.
In general.
But yeah, when it started playing, I just kind of sat up and was like, is this the music? Because I'm trying to remember what the hell music Patriot had, but I wasn't really a Patriot fan years ago, so I didn't really pay attention to
I mean, I don't think anybody was.
Yes.
It was the same? Fuck yeah. Jim Johnston?
Probably. I guess there's actually an interview that
pre-CFOs
that the Patriot did.
Oh, just to say that it was mine
with
first.
With Fightful asking him about Kurt Angle using his theme song in WWF.
Sorry, brother. You didn't get it over.
Hey, he went from, one Patriot to the next, I guess.
Yeah.
Bulldog is livid when Ken is introduced, and they look to match up to start.
USA.
Only for Davey Boy to tag out to Owen. But Shamrock takes control with arm drags, fireman carries, as we see Brett watching on in the back. Ken hits a high knee, Patriot hits a back elbow, only for Hart to immediately go to the corner for a tag, bringing in Bulldog to match power with the masked American. And Shamrock and Owen both return as the Hitman has now made his way out to the top of the ramp, while the former champs double-team Ken as we head to commercial. And we come back to the action with Shamrock still being dominated as Hart hits a back body drop and a backbreaker for a 2 count. Ken ducks a double clothesline, bounces off the ropes with a crossbody onto both men, allowing him to make the crawl to his corner for the hot tag. Patriot with left hands, clotheslines, double noggin knockers for everybody. Power slam to Bulldog for a near fall, followed by heading up top for a Patriot missile, which is a flying shoulder block, for a 2 count.
Patriot missile does look nice.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I'm just glad it wasn't a missile drop kick.
I was kind of waiting for him to, do like the angle slam or something.
But he goes for it with the shoulder. It's a nice angle that he gets on that move, if you will.
The masked American charges into a corner, but gets a boot to the face before both men hit clotheslines for a double KO. All while Shamrock is challenging Brett to come down the ramp, only for Slaughter to back the Hitman down. And the ref is distracted by all this, allowing Owen to slide Davey Boy a chair. But the plan backfires as the Patriot delivers an Uncle Slam, which is a full Nelson Slam, onto the chair for the pin. And the win.
The fucking Uncle Slam.
Horrible.
I know, it's like the Uncle Sam, it's like
just Uncle Sam Slam.
The power Sam, like it just Uncle Slam. It's like poof, tough name.
All American Slam. I don't know. Weird.
JR then tells us that Ahmed Johnson has been expelled from the Nation of Domination.
No way.
Call the WWF Superstar Hotline to find out more.
Yeah, Faarooq said, retire your ass getting hurt all the time, fucker. Get out.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I really wish that he wasn't hurt so much because he had so much. There was nothing negative about him outside of his glass bones, in my opinion. He kept getting better.
He did, but then he also got, the more I look back on it, he kind of got positioned to where he stood out. Because you're in a match with old man Jake Roberts, and I can't remember who the other person was on their team. They had a 6-man match at like Mania or something.
That was the Road Warriors and him.
With
Faarooq and
maybe I'm thinking of a different
Savio and
maybe I'm thinking of King of the Ring before. Yeah, maybe it was before the injury. But yeah, they had him just as the new breakout star, and they'd put him with older guys that were fan favorites, but they couldn't really do much anymore, like Jake and Warrior.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that there's too many starts and stops, and it was too much. But I got love for Ahmed.
Yep. I mean, everything happens for a reason, and I'm not saying that we came out on the worst end of it.
I mean, there's no way he was ever any bigger than Stone Cold, but he could have been a great upper mid carder for a long time.
I mean, he could have if he could figure out how to get over while he was hurt the same way Stone Cold did.
Yeah, he needed some DDPY.
Yeah, see, he needed to go to somebody's house with a gun that shot out a little thing that said bang.
Oh, okay.
Like Stone Cold and Pillman.
Vincent shows us newspaper clippings from Brett's return to Canada after winning the belt, before also giving us a video package, which does the same.
Heroes return.
We see hundreds of fans swarming at the Toronto airport, with some sharing their love for the champ, intertwined with the Hitman saying he did it all for his fans in his home country, Germany, and other foreign countries.
All those other guys.
That's right. This is for the world. It's not for America.
No Americans.
It's for the rest of the world.
We then go backstage to see the Heartbreak Kid talking to someone, but we can only see their back at first.
But we know who it is.
When the camera begins to pivot around to catch a glimpse, Shawn yells at them to get away as we go to break.
Who is this phantom person.
Yeah.
He's not masked.
No, he's not.
He's just in a suit.
But I mean, for some reason, you wouldn't think that the silhouette would be as strong, but I knew who it was. Didn't even have to think about it.
I mean, we know who it is.
Yes.
But if you just watched WWF at the time, you literally hadn't seen this guy in like
a long
5
time.
years.
Yeah, for sure. It's like one of those things like, well, I just saw him like weird.
We come back from commercial to the Patriot backstage saying his success is not a fluke and that Bret isn't unbeatable. When all of a sudden Hart would attack with a chair shot to the back, followed by a flurry of punches until officials could break it up.
God, I love that, Bret.
Yeah, he's getting better at this heel work for sure.
Mm-hmm. Going back to his roots.
We then go to our 5th match, Faarooq versus Chainz.
I love when two guys with one name have a fight.
Faarooq.
JR tells us that Slaughter has banned all of their faction mates from ringside, before we see footage from the past week's Raw, where the Nation of Domination had attacked Ahmed, excommunicating him from the group.
Beat down.
Blood in, blood out.
Yep. Let it be. Let it be.
And while the militant salutes, the biker gives him a salute of his own, leading to Faarooq attacking. But Chainz avoids and knocks his opponent down multiple times with clotheslines and big boots. And Chainz telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Faarooq to go on the offensive, stomping away, until the biker cradles up the militant for a 2 count. And Faarooq is right back on the attack with a shoulder block and working over the back, when Chainz rolls over and gets his knees up to block. And the biker hits a body slam, slams the militant's head into the mat, but a rake of the eyes allows Faarooq to whip Chainz to the ropes, only to telegraph a back body drop, with him getting his head slammed into the mat once more. And Chainz delivers a big boot and a clothesline that knocks the militant backwards into the ref.
Ref bump.
Followed by an elbow drop, making the cover, but the ref is still out.
Oh no.
And all of a sudden, Rocky Maivia jumps in the ring to check on the ref.
What?
And we haven't seen him since In Your House 15, Cold Day in Hell, episode 252, before nailing a Uranagi to Chainz, with Faarooq making the cover for the pin and the win.
What in the cold day and fanny pack hell is happening here?
Post-match, Rocky gets back in the ring, with the militant asking him to join him in the Nation of Domination salute before the 2 hug as we go to commercial.
Yeah, I love it that like Farouk's like, you did that? And he's like, yeah. And and they both, fist bump, hug, fist up. Nice and clean, nice and simple. But just a production thought. The Rock comes down in a vertical striped t-shirt, but he's not like, it's like, he's not taking over for the ref. He's just doing a move. Why would he come out in a vertical striped t-shirt?
It was fashion back then.
Yes, but did it have to be here? It would have been a little cleaner, is all I'm saying. I'm being very nitpicky.
It's a rookie mistake for the newbie.
Yeah.
For the new nation.
He's on his way. He's not there yet.
We come back from break to see Maivia beating up with the Nation in a locker room, only for the cameraman to be kicked out. The disciples of Apocalypse arrive to try and break into the room, but officials break up another fight. Now back in the arena, Sable makes her way to the ring, only for the Patriot to interrupt and grabbing a mic to say he doesn't want to wait until September 7th. He wants the Hitman right now.
Why would you do that, Patriot? Oh, wait, because that's not going to sell a pay-per-view.
And Bret makes his way down where the masked American goes on the attack with left hands and headbutts, only for the rest of the Hart Foundation to come running, leaving the Patriot laid out with the Canadian flag draped over him as officials again have to come out to maintain control. We then go to the back where Mankind says he hopes Shawn's insurance policy is life insurance, because tonight Michaels is going to swallow his own liver before we go to break.
with some fava beans.
We then come back to an extreme close-up on a face, saying, "My name is Brackus, and I come from the Deutschland." And if you couldn't understand me,
yeah,
neither could we understand this.
1997, and we're doing like German heel.
Yep. Gotta keep it real, you know.
Yeah,
We've got an American Patriot here, so we gotta have a new foreign entity coming in.
I guess they were tired of Russians, which are still more relevant than
Russians
German
are gone.
at that point. Yeah.
Sultans, he's already taken them down.
The thing is like
we don't have a Yokozuna anymore.
Germany fucked up so bad that like they still make movies to this day where they're like, okay, well, if you're gonna make a violent war movie, the people you're shooting have to be Nazis to this day. Like we can't just have a movie where you're like murdering Russians or really even like Middle Eastern people. It just has to be Germans, and it has to be set in World War II. And they're like, okay, well, it's fine. But in 1997 in wrestling, it's like, well, it's not. It's just not a thing anybody. As obviously everyone has strong feelings, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. It's not a raw nerve.
The package ends with Brackus is coming. Do you want to know if we ever see Brackus?
Do we?
The answer is...
Like, is he on a Survivor Series team? Or...
We do see him at one point.
Oh.
But not in the WWF.
Oh, wow, yeah. So, like, this is like Glacier is coming, except for it actually doesn't happen.
Oh, it's like Veer. It's like, before there was Veer, there was Brackus. Now, Veer is no more. Again.
He'll show up whenever for the next Crown Jewel, maybe. Or maybe not.
No. They got rid of all of their... like Indian wrestlers here.
Actually, I don't know if we watch that. We may watch that show.
Got rid of Veer, got rid of Jinder, got rid of.
But Jinder was
the other guy.
Jinder was used recently for a moment.
Yeah, and then got fired right after.
Yeah.
I know the one time we'll see him, he will be in ECW.
Oh wow.
There's a possibility of a couple other times that we might see.
We've never seen him
WWF.
Before though. He's not a guy that we know.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out just.
He literally has 46 matches on Cage Match.
Wow. Yeah, that's nothing.
He's done by the end of '98.
Brackus.
So we go to our sixth match: the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels versus Mankind. And this is actually Michaels' first match back since the King of the Ring.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta slow play it, make him a ref.
Well, he was suspended there for a while because of him and Brett having issues.
Yeah. He's a stinker.
But Foley brings a rubber trash can down to the ring with him.
Huge.
But Shawn goes right on the attack, using the trash can over the head, followed by placing it over the head of Mankind and coming off the top rope with a double sledge. And the Heartbreak Kid pulls the trash can off, only for Foley to still be wrapped up in the trash bag. But he manages to lock on the mandible claw until a low blow ends all that. Foley then rolls to the floor to regroup when Michaels goes for a baseball slide that Mankind avoids, slamming Shawn's head into the steel steps, followed by dropping him across a guardrail. And Foley charges at HBK, who backbody drops him onto the announce table before leaping off the apron with an elbow drop.
Yeah, and a little bit of Jerry Lawler.
Michaels then runs Mankind into the ring steps before heading back inside for a top rope elbow drop and setting up for sweet chin music. But Foley ducks and applies the mandible claw again. And Shawn escapes through the ropes to the floor, only for Mankind to keep the hold on until he smashes Foley's head into the ring post repeatedly.
Posted. I mean, he does it like 3 times. These guys they're going for it. This is we're off to a great start.
Yeah, these two have some magic together.
Yeah, there's some chemistry for sure.
The Heartbreak continues the punishment with a back suplex onto the announce table when we see Triple H and Chyna make their way down to ringside as we head to commercial.
And they come down with no music. Mm-hmm. Keep it that way.
Back to the action, Michaels pulls Mankind's mask off, using it to pummel his opponent before Foley avoids a charge into a corner, sending Shawn into the ring post, shoulder first.
I do love the slight comedy of the mask pull. Where they're it's like, well, I mean, he's just a normal looking guy.
I've seen you this before.
They're like, oh, he's so disfigured and ugly. It's like, I don't know. He's looks like just a dad. I don't know. He's kind of cute in a charming way.
Mankind goes for an elbow drop, only for the Heartbreak Kid to avoid and lock in a sleeper as Hunter and his bodyguard just watch on. And Foley escapes by ramming Michaels into a corner, followed by charging in with a splash, only for Shawn to move in time and land a leaping forearm. Then the two trade strikes, turnbuckle smashes, and rakes in the eyes, when Mankind would knock HBK down in a corner, allowing him to deliver a running knee when Rick Rude would make his way down to the ring.
Doesn't he look great in a suit?
Always.
Wait, wasn't Rick Rude just an ECW?
Yeah, weren't they just kind of like calling him a sellout or whatever? they love to do that. Whereas it's like, oh, you're making $150 tonight, as opposed to $600 tonight. Oh yeah, and a beer. Win one beer.
JR assumes that the Ravishing One is the insurance policy, as Michael flare flips his way into a tree of woe, but Foley misses an elbow drop as Shawn lifts himself up onto the turnbuckle in time.
Playing a little bit possum.
The Heartbreak Kid leaps off with a double axe handle, but Mankind catches him in midair with a right hand, followed by a double arm DDT, and making the cover for a 2 count. And Foley goes to run the ropes when Triple H would trip him up, while Chyna has the ref distracted. And Rude grabs a chair, clocking Mankind over the head, leading him to stumble backwards into sweet chin music for the pin and the win. Post-match, Michaels is looking around the ring like he doesn't understand what's going on, when all of a sudden, dong! Lights start to flicker, and the Undertaker makes his way down the ramp. But Paul Bearer is then on the Titantron, warning the dead man that his brother Kane is coming, promising that Taker will burn in hell.
You gonna die.
As we fade to black.
I mean, there's flames first, of course. But yeah.
Everything goes red.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Monday Night Raw from August 11th, 1997?
So many angles. So a lot of angles, new directions, great main event. That the show almost should feel overbooked with the amount of stuff they do, but everything's kind of tiered correctly. Where it's like, okay, well, this is your lower card, and your mid card, and your upper mid card, and these are obviously the things that are the most important. And then it's like, yeah, Bret and the Patriot technically should be the last match, but as big as Bret is, he's not as big as Shawn and Mankind. And we just got to get the Patriot out of the way so we can move on to the pay-per-view. And him beating, Bret's more comfortable at being a heel at the moment. He's doing a better job of shit-talking, and the Patriot allows him to continue to do that with some credibility and get the boos and the USA chant. Patriot losing is all for Bret.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those same things there. Not as many words for it other than this was just a fun show. Like, as you said, it had a good build to it. It told the stories. It had kind of a beginning, middle, and end. You know, there was meaning behind almost everything that they did on this show.
No matter how minuscule it was still treated. The only thing that wasn't treated as any kind of serious is Putski and Tony Williams.
Yeah, and that was just what it was. It was the filler match there, so they
took up 4 minutes.
It's Vince trying to start his light heavyweight division.
Trying to start his light heavyweight division, and also doing, building the little moment for Goldust and Pillman, in the match.
That's exactly why it existed. Yeah. But I mean, at least Putski has a look. Yeah. It could have been jobbers that really didn't need to be there.
Of the Raws and Nitros that we've watched here recently, yeah, this one I'd say is near the top of my
goes down
my watch
smooth.
list.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, everything is put up half a notch by a great main event.
Yes.
So this is one of those episodes that probably if you watched it live, you're like, oh, there's some interesting things going on. Like,
yeah, and you get a real match for the headline.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Watching it 27 years later now, and knowing what some of these moments mean, like Rocky Maivia showing up with Faarooq.
And doesn't he look great with the Nation?
He does.
Rick Rude, Triple H, and China showing up for Shawn Michaels, knowing
what's
coming, and like these are the first time that these moments have happened.
It makes it that much more exciting.
It's like, oh, that's what we're watching right now. Like that's so
Mm-hmm.
cool.
It's like when you turn on like your gas burner and it like click, and then it lights and you're like, all right, but we haven't turned it up to high yet.
Yeah.
So I've got a question then, guys. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Absolutely, I'm ready.
Nation, the domination.
Are you ready?
Good. Where's the smart marks at? There. All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
I mean, Mankind into the announce table was particularly brutal.
Mankind and Shawn Michaels, just that match in general.
Yeah, it's one of those, two of those, there's always guys where you're like, oh, they have such great chemistry. And
Stone
Shawn,
Cold and Dustin Rhodes.
But Shawn and Mankind is one that I think is kind of underrated.
It is.
Because I don't think that they have a whole lot of matches.
No, because Mankind wasn't viewed as a star at the time. He was just...
Yeah, and by the time he like truly becomes the fan favorite, which he's working towards, but it's like slow and steady. Shawn Michaels is not. He takes that injury, he goes away. When I started watching in like 98, I was like, oh yeah, DX rules or whatever. Shawn comes back. My cousin had to explain to me who Shawn Michaels was.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at just the length of time that Mankind has been here, Mankind has shown that he can just come down, or you can just say Mick. He can come down and he can have a kick-ass match with almost anybody in the ring.
Yeah, and it's much too...
He's got great chemistry with Shawn. Shawn has great chemistry with Undertaker. Taker has great chemistry with Mankind. You know, the three of them, you can put them in any variation of a match with each other and you know you're in for something special.
Yeah, for sure.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Yes.
Absolutely. I love how...
I mean, thought we'd ever be praising Sergeant Slaughter.
For lack of a better term, how militant he is about his... You know, it makes sense about his job. He's doing... everything he does makes sense. He's not... He doesn't feel like he's picking sides. He's like, hey, these are just the rules. You signed a contract about this dress thing, so you have to wear the dress.
Yep. Rules are rules, bro.
Yeah. You can't be a cop 24/7, so some stuff slips by and it still seems believable.
And I'm going to give him his flowers because it's probably one of the only few times we'll be able to. But I always liked the Patriot. Mm-hmm. I thought he was at least interesting. Like, you couldn't go very far with his character.
No.
He's a one-note character.
He's
U.S. I mean, he's Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
What more could they do with Hacksaw Jim Duggan back in the day?
Yeah, but he's Hacksaw, but he's better in the ring than a Hacksaw at this point in 97.
And this is the best version of the Patriots that we've seen because, like you said, we typically see him in that one-note role where he's just this wave a flag and, you know, woo, go USA. But this one, he actually talks, he yells, he basically threatens to kick Bret's ass, and Bret is another one I'll throw in there too because his attack on Patriot
his attack in the back.
It was great.
Backstage was good.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting more comfortable with the heel role, and it's working. No matter how silly it seems, it is working. And the Patriot is just perfect for this moment, but he can't really exceed it as that character.
I mean, I know you guys hate the name Uncle Slam, but I think
it's funny. I mean,
I think it's.
I popped for sure.
This is, I think, where they start using names that have meaning to the gimmick for what the name of a move is. The Patriot Missile, the Uncle Slam. Because, like, what are some of the other move names that we have?
Sweet Chin Music.
What does that have to do with the Heartbreak Kid?
Yep.
Sharpshooter. like, what does that have to do with Hitman?
Yeah.
Mandible claw. I mean...
Yeah, your Hitman's sharpshooters.
The mandible claw
that
because...
part
I mean, okay, I guess that's true. I didn't think of Hitman. But, like, they're using it... From this point forward, we'll see it more and more that they'll start using the names of certain moves
we saw
will have to do with the gimmick.
We saw Rocky Maivia do an Uranagi.
I called it a Uranagi.
Yeah,
it's because he's still Rocky.
Because it's we're not we're not quite at the bottom yet.
We haven't reserved a room
of
at
this
the
Rocky situation
SmackDown hotel yet.
How about we move on to disappointing? Anything? I mean, brackets is still coming back.
I mean, the brackets thing, I'm not disappointed because
funny,
we deducted that it never really happens, so I can't be angry about it. But it was very silly, and it's like, why would this be a good idea?
The country whipping match was just kind of a waste of space.
Yeah,
it was, but it didn't have a point.
I know that both of these teams are in the 4-way tag match.
Yeah,
but they didn't really make it
about that
as much. It was more just the Hawk and Hog feud because Hawk broke Hog's neck. That was really the only reason to have the match. And they didn't really play up that angle. They played more the tag match angle, and they didn't really sell the tag match angle either. So it was just kind of like
it's one of those things like space. We all know why it exists, but they didn't do a great job of playing off of it or explaining it as well as they could have.
And yes, it was great to see Pillman, but he is not good in the ring anymore.
No.
Which sucks.
No.
Because he was so good.
He no longer flies. He no longer bries. He's just...
He's all attitude.
There. He's all boots.
Yeah.
He's up on pills, man.
Yeah.
So sad. Because if he could have just let that thing heal, could have been a guy that didn't jump off of stuff and still got shit done in like a similar way to, not saying he would be Bret Hart good, but like he has the tools to still have a compelling match and the personality, but he is very much held back by working through an injury.
Yeah.
That, eventually takes his life, working through it anyway.
I don't really have a whole lot of negativity.
I mean, this is the kind of Raw you want to see. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, it's not pay-per-view quality, but of course it's not. But it's not change the channel. You would wait through the commercial breaks if this was airing today.
How about best performer of the night? Mankind for me.
Yeah.
Because he does the interview as Dude Love as well.
Yeah.
So we'll go Mick Foley, I guess.
There you go.
I mean, Shawn is great, but Shawn's always good, but him and Mankind have great chemistry, and Mankind had more airtime in a different way. He played 2 roles tonight and did both of them very well. I also love how immediately Dude Love shows up and everybody adores him.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, oh, we know that this is stupid, but we don't care because we love it. And it's like not as much laugh out loud funny as it is like just purely charming.
Picture the tapping boot going back and forth in the entry video.
And then, you just got to give it up to WWF production, because this same exact show could be on WCW, but with their production team, there would have been so much stuff lost in translation. They just don't have it that way. And say what you will about WWF, production has always been better than every other wrestling show. It still is today, and it still was when Kevin Dunn was there, unfortunately. Like, it's just, it might not be good, but it's a very polished product.
How about most surprising?
Dun 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 dun. Whatever the music goes. Patriot music. Who knew that Kurt Angle's music was somebody else's music before it was Kurt Angle's?
Same. That was the first time I knew.
Yeah, I was this episode old when I figured that out. Yeah, that's...
And it's just like such a good theme song.
And then, the man in the suit.
Yeah, obviously the two reasons why you watch this show is because of kind of the Rocky joining Nation of Domination.
Yeah.
And DX. Not officially, but
that's right.
Basically coming together.
And just
they haven't gotten yelled at by Brett yet to form the
And from a wrestling
They
standpoint,
haven't been called degenerates yet.
Yes.
from the wrestling standpoint, the main event is very, very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we have the mention of Kane again. So
Yep.
that storyline still...
Kane is
still,
coming.
They're still spinning that wheel as well.
Can you imagine that? Like, it feels like anytime they're like, this wrestler is on his way, it like just doesn't work. But Paul Bearer just like referencing Kane every once in a while is way more intriguing than Brackus is coming.
Yeah.
Glacier is coming.
I don't remember who the last person that was coming in WWF was.
I think the one that I remember the most was because I was not aware of them was the Y2J thing. It was like I didn't know who Chris Jericho was, so I wasn't watching a whole lot of WCW. I'd flip back and forth, but WCW was on its way out. They may have still been winning the 83 weeks when I started, but it wasn't the better show. And as I kept watching, it's like, Y2J, what is that? What is that? Chris Jericho comes out, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. And then they did the similar thing with Taz. So it's like me not being a smart mark, I didn't pop for those things. I was like, well, who is this? Who is this? But I just didn't have the knowledge or experience from watching the other programs to know that.
And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
Chris Candido had been the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion for over 3 months when he would make his way to a Smoky Mountain Wrestling house show to face the Beast, Dan Severn. Dan Severn, born 1958 in Coldwater, Michigan, on a farm. He would take up amateur wrestling in high school, winning a national championship in 1976. Severn would go on to Arizona State, becoming a 2-time All-American. Dan would make his professional wrestling debut in 1992 for the UWFI in Japan, before also working in Canada and Tennessee. He would also start to cross-train in judo and jiu-jitsu before receiving an invite for the Ultimate Fighting Championships 4, where he would lose to Royce Gracie in the longest UFC fight up to that point. Soon after, the NWA would offer Severn a chance at the belt, which he would win and hold for the next 4 years, which is the third longest reign in the history of the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. While he was champ, Dan would continue to also compete in the UFC, winning a title there as well. For his accomplishments, Severn is a member of the UFC and NWA Hall of Fames.
So he held the belt from what? For the NWA belt, like 92 or 3?
95 to 99-ish.
Okay.
Great.
It makes sense why he had it so long, because it meant nothing at that point.
Yeah.
There was no one.
Yeah.
Basically, I think the next guy who's a name is a former IWGP champion that you really love after he had left New Japan.
Which one?
Shinya.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting for you to say.
I think there's one.
I wasn't sure.
I think there's one person in between them, but
Like
Shinya's
Stan?
The next one.
Shinya wins it.
He's way too old at that point. Yeah.
Shinya wins it at some point, but it's after he's left New Japan. So.
Yeah. Old Shinya.
Yeah. So it's like their new promotion that he goes to, joins up with the NWA.
Comes down with a cowbell, cracks Dan over the head, spits a water chew on his face, and pins him right there.
And kicks him in the head.
Next week, Hardcore Heaven 1997.
Ooh, that rhymed. Sorry. Who's?
I mean, where is this our third ECW actual pay-per-view?
Second one.
Second one. All right, cool. And you know what, guys? It's not in Philly.
Nope, sure not.
Weird. You know what else? It's not in New York either.
No.
Weirder.
It's in the only other
Fort
place.
Lauderdale, Florida.
I guess we've seen a little bit of New Jersey. The NWA. Or no, I guess that was... That was that Dennis Corluzzo
that was
show.
the NWA show.
NWA show.
Music from this week's show is We're All Together Now by Jim Johnston. And Shawn Michaels won our main event, so we play his music. Sexy Boy by Jimmy Hart and J.J. Maguire. If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, GooglePlay, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. Come on.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
We are going to Fort Lauderdale next. So if you've been to Florida, if you've been to Fort Lauderdale, give me some ideas. What should I bring? What kind of food, beverage, snack, sweet? I mean, yeah, Florida, probably something seafoody or tropical-y. Yeah, give me some ideas. Give us a shout out on the old...
salts on rye.
The Cannibal Coolie. But yeah, hit us up on the old Twitter. I'm not gonna say the other letter.
Nah, it's still Twitter. Everyone calls it.
It's always Twitter, forever and ever.
you can send any of those things to our email at WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. It's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.